Hi everybody, Kathy here. I want to give you some pointers on completing your final project. And you have the log cabin interior design instructions. So a couple things you need to verify. I know some of you may have already completed your floor plan, so you can go ahead and skip to the next video. But if you haven't or you're having trouble, then let's start from the beginning and you can follow along and maybe get it to work out more correctly. So you want to start a new file with your drawing set up. Make sure and save it with your last name, first initial, and final project. I want to make sure that when you turn it into me, it has your name on it, not just final project, because I won't know whose it is. Then also go ahead and open up the landscape 11 by 17 landscape file that I gave you, and open up your log cabin blocks that I gave you. So you should have all three of these open at the very beginning. You can set up your grid to show. Let me show you how I set the grid up. You can have your X and Y spacing at 1 foot. You can have your grid spacing, that's for your snap. You can have your grid spacing at 1 foot by 1 foot, every major line every fourth. We're going to turn off the grid snap and the snap on, leave all that off for now. And let's try using polar snap for this initial drawing. And then click OK. The other things you need to make sure of is that your units are definitely set to architectural. Just double check all of that, and that your limits are set to the ones that I gave you, which is 0, 0 at the lower left and 40 foot at the upper right. You may have your initial floor plan in this area, but the rest of your drawings will be outside of your limits, so that's okay, it doesn't matter, but I do want to see that you've set that up correctly. Finally, you want to double check and make sure that you have your Arial 2 and 4 text styles added to this, and you can also make sure and from your design center bring in the interior design standard title block and notes that you had from your hotel suite. Same thing with your dimension styles. Make sure you have 2 and 4 created, Arial 2 and 4, and then your multi-leaders you need to have created Arial 2 and 4. That was in the previous video under setup, and also we went through this in class. Finally, you want to bring in your schedule that you created in your hotel suite. So go ahead and use your design center, bring in your schedule so you don't have to recreate that. You can use the one that you've already created. So all of those things should be in your drawing before you get started. And then let's go back to the Home tab and look at your layers. These are the layers that I asked you to set up. There are 2 additional layers in here. One of them is a construction layer, so I just created a construction layer for my construction lines so I can turn them on and off as I work, and I wanted them to be a light gray color, so I made them 253. I also added a miscellaneous, and that's also a gray color. This is for things that you're not quite sure which layer to put them on. You can put them on a miscellaneous layer, and then we can discuss it in class. I can tell you which layer your item should go on, but if it's in the light gray, then we know to ask the question, what layer is this supposed to go on? Okay, so the construction layer also should be non-print. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you select non-print for that. Your def points are automatically non-print, and your viewport. You should have a viewport layer, and that should be non-print. Everything else you need to make sure is print. So now that you have all of that ready to go, select the walls layer and let's get started. The first thing you're going to be doing is making a rectangle. So we're going to select the rectangle tool, pick a place somewhere around this area, click the bottom left corner of your rectangle, type in 24 feet, tab, 24 feet, enter. Then we're going to offset this rectangle. And this is the outer limits of your main part of the log cabin. So we'll offset the exterior walls 6 inches. And that's towards the inside. Enter. Then we want to go ahead and explode both of these rectangles. The next thing we're going to do is use the line command and create make sure we have the F8 ortho on, start at this bottom corner, and we know that the porch comes out 8 feet, so we can go out 8 feet, and then we can go over the 24 feet and back up. And we want to go up 4 feet. And then we know that we have some stairs there. The stairs are 2 feet out, and then another 4 feet up, and then we can connect here. We can draw another line, and we want to find the midpoint here, and then connect that for our first step. Repeat the line and connect here. So now we have our basic outline of our log cabin. We also have some little posts that are along the front here, and those are 6-inch square posts. And so that means that we also have this other line that goes along that. So we're going to offset this line 6 inches. And then we're going to locate our posts. And the way that we're going to do that is to use construction lines. So this is where I'm going to change to the construction line layer that I created, and I'm going to start creating some construction lines. So under the draw command area, select construction line, and our first construction line is going to be a vertical construction line, and it's going to be at the very edge of the house. And then in order to place our first post, we're going to offset that by 8 foot 1 inch. And then we want to offset again. I'm going to right click, enter to repeat the command, click offset, and our distance through for the second one is going to be 7 foot 10 inches, and I want to offset this line this time in this direction. And then my final construction line again is a vertical, and it's going to be on this end here. So I want to just verify that I actually got that offset correctly. So let's go from here to here. That's 8 foot 1. Repeat that from here to here, 7 foot 10. And then repeat that again from here to here, and I measure. So those lines, those construction lines are in the correct place. So here we want to add our 6-inch by 6-inch post, and it's going to fit right inside this area here. So best thing to do is just to create the post outside. So select the rectangle tool, pick a spot, and our size is going to be 6 inches, tab 6 inches. So here's our post, and I want to move this post, select the midpoint, and then match that midpoint up to my construction line. And then I can do copy. I can select, remember, a left to right selection box only selects what's inside the box. And so I can select the midpoint and repeat that copy right there. And then I want to copy this to this corner. So I don't want to use the midpoint for that. I want to use the end point or the corner. So copy again, and then pick this as my base point, and this is my new point. And then we'll repeat the copy command and copy that one to there. Okay, so now we have our post in the correct location, and it's within that 6-inch offset, but we really have a 4-inch railing. So we're just going to move this outer or the inner line, select it, move it 2 inches in, 2 inches. And so now this is the correct location for our railing. And then we want to trim away the railing from the inside of each post. Trim command, and you can just select each one of these posts, enter, and then just remove the railing that's going through. Last thing is, since I was on the construction line layer, I want to switch these back to the wall layer. So I'm going to select them. And then up here in my layer properties, change those to wall. Okay, so this is all set correctly. The last thing that we want to do for those particular posts is to hatch them with a solid hatch. So we can we want to move to our wall layer, and we want to click on the hatch command. Make sure we select solid, and then we can just select each one of these. Now, because my construction lines are there, it's going to break it in half, but that's okay. You can choose both sides and then enter. So those are complete. All right, so looking at my plan more carefully, I realize that I'm not going to need these two construction lines anymore now that I've created those posts and they're in the correct location. So I actually can erase those two construction lines, but I'm going to keep the ones on the ends because those I will be reusing. So erase tool and get rid of those two construction lines. All right, now we're going to use all of the dimensions given, and we're going to create construction lines across the top of this plan, and we're going to start with the right-hand side of this plan, and we'll also have some construction lines go along the left-hand side. So the measurements are based on these outer walls and then the midpoints of certain things that are inside the plan. So construction line again, let's change this to our construction line layer. And we want to go to the construction line, and we're going to do a series of vertical construction lines. But we are also going to be offsetting the ones that exist. So construction line, and I want to choose offset. The first offset going from right to left is 6 feet. And I want to choose this construction line and offset in that direction. Repeat the command, offset 5'8". Repeat the command, and the next offset is 2'5". And then repeat the command, offset 3'11". This line goes 3'11", and then from here to here should be 6 feet. I don't need to offset that because it's already there. You can go ahead and measure just to verify that you have created your lines in the correct locations. You do have to have your snap set correctly, so I'm just going to double check. I want endpoint, midpoint, center point, intersection. That looks good. If you can't get it to snap to where you want it, you can actually type in intersection, enter, and then it'll find that intersection for you. INT, and it is 2'5". And you can adjust this by just turning off. Right now it's grabbing the perpendicular, so I'm just going to turn that off for a second so I can be getting my intersections. That is correct. And then 6 foot. Okay, so everything looks good there. Now I'm going to place the horizontal construction lines. And we have one on the outermost end. And then we're going to be offsetting. And the offset is 8'7". And then the next offset is 5'5" and 1/2. And then it should be 9. It should reach this point here if we offset again. And we offset by 9'11". and 1/2 inch. Perfect. So it did line up. So those are the center lines that I needed for the right-hand side and the center lines I needed for the top. Sorry, there's two other construction lines that I want to create. One of them is to find out where this wall is supposed to go for the bedroom one, and one of them is to figure out where the wall goes for the bathroom. So two more construction lines. Click on construction line, but we're just going to do offset. And the bathroom is offset 8'1" from here. So this is our bathroom. And then our bedroom is offset 12'2" from here. Notice that it's this upper one, not the lower one. The upper one is for the bedroom, the lower one is for the bathroom. So you just have to kind of tell yourself to keep track of what lines are what. So let's make the bedroom wall first. So the offset command, and because these walls are 5 inches thick, we have to offset by 2.5. So I just type in 2.5, enter, offset. I'm sorry, I just want to be in the regular offset, not the X line. 2.5 inches, and we want to go to the top and to the bottom of that construction line. We want to match properties, which is something I haven't showed you guys how to do yet. But if you click on match properties and then you select the wall layer and then select what you want to make wall layer and enter, it will switch that to the wall layer real easily. We can now trim away this part of the wall that we don't need. We can trim here, and then we want to find out where the end of this wall is, and it's at 12'6" from the outer wall. So let's offset one more time, 12'6", grab the outer wall and offset it to the inside. Now, I don't know which line it is right now, so we'll do a temporary dimension. And we want to go from out here to in here, so it's the outer line. So I'm going to use the, make sure I'm on the walls layer, line command, and close up this wall, and then trim. Notice I'm leaving the construction lines there. So that's your first wall for your bedroom, and then let's get that bathroom wall in. Again, sometimes it helps to add some temporary dimensions so you know which one your dimension you're using. So it's this line here, offset, and this is again 2.5 inches, offset to either side. And you can use the match properties tool, match property, select the wall, select these two construction lines to make them the wall layer, and then trim. I need to find out where the bathroom actually starts, and I believe it's this line right here, which is the 8'7" offset line here, and then not this one, but the bottom one. So the bathroom encompasses this area, this rectangular area right here. So let's offset again, 2.5 inches to the top and the bottom. Match properties. And now we can do the fillet command. Oh, no, we can't. We can trim. Sorry. So this line can trim away that part. So this will be the corner of our bathroom. And then this other side of the bathroom actually has a 6-inch wall, not a 5-inch wall. So our offset is going to be 3 inches for this one on either side. Match properties, enter, and then let's do some trimming. Oops, I'm still in offset. Trim. And then we can use this line to trim away these two. So this is our kitchen area. And then trim again. We can use this line to trim away those parts of the bathroom. And then you also want to trim the part that connects to the outer wall. And you can trim away this corner area. And then this wall continues, so we can trim away this part, but we need to keep this part of the wall because we're going to put a door here, and that's going to be going into your other bedroom. So now we have these walls defined, and our next project is to get the closets in, which is a little bit trickier. So we're going to use, again, the offset to put those walls in. Now this line that we use to finish off our wall, we can erase that particular construction line. We won't need it for dimensioning purposes, so we're going to erase it. So what we're left with are the correct lines for our closet. And again, if you wanted to put some temporary dimensions in and get rid of them later or use them later, you can. I do recommend, though, that if you're going to be dimensioning in advance, to go ahead and make sure you're on the dimensions lines. And in the dimensions area, you also want to make sure you're using the Arial 4. And when you want to do a string of dimensions, you can click on the continue. So you start off with regular dimension, click, and then click on continue. And you can continue that string. I don't need that one, but I need that one all the way across, and enter. So just to make sure I'm using the correct lines, I'm going to leave those there. I'm going to actually erase these other two because they were on the wrong layer anyway. All right, now back to our wall layer, and let's do some offset. So offset 2.5 inches, and we're going to create our closet. So we want to go on either side of this one and either side of this one, match properties, so we can tell the difference between our walls and our construction lines. And let's do some trimming right off the bat to get rid of all the extra lines. And then connect that to our outer wall. Okay, and then based on our plan, there is a space here. This doesn't go all the way through, so let's go ahead and trim here. This goes away. And we also have a little linen closet, it looks like here, and then two back-to-back closets for the bedrooms. This wall does continue through, but it stops here, so we're going to trim this away as well. Connect that to the wall. And then this wall stops right here, so we'll trim that away. And we can connect this. And we can also connect here. Trim away that. Okay, so now it's starting to look like the floor plan, but we just don't have our doors in, and we need to finish our closet. So I'm going to use this line to offset to find where the closet, actually I'm going to use construction lines, it works best. So in this case, we can use this outer construction line, offset it 3 foot 8.5 to get the center line of this closet wall. So offset, and it's 3 foot 8-1/2 inches. Grab this line and offset it. So that's the middle of our closet separation, and then we can offset that one again. Repeat the offset. The distance is 3 foot 5. And that's the wall that separates the linen from the closets. All right, and then offset again 2.5 inches to both sides for all of these construction lines that we just created. Match properties and trim. Use this one to trim away these. And then connect them together. Again, I'm using the trim command and just using the selection box to select everything. Okay, so that's basically all of the walls for our cabin. Hopefully everything's in the right place. The only thing I don't have in yet is the fireplace, and we'll add that in at a later time. But the next process would be to start adding the windows in, and then we want to add the doors. So the best thing to do is to go to your design center, and we'll continue this on the next video. But go to your design center, and in your design center you want to go to folders, and you want to go to the ENUS dynamic blocks. So when you're in the dynamic blocks, you want architectural imperial, go to blocks, and bring in the door and bring in the window. However, before you do that, you want to be in the correct layer. So I want to switch to my doors layer, and then when I drag my door in, it's in the correct layer already. Switch to my windows layer, and I'm going to grab this window. I'm just going to set them off to the side so that when I need to add them to my plan, they're ready to go. And because I've added those blocks in, I now have them available under the insert and insert block area. So whenever I need one, I can grab it and bring it in. Okay, but I want to make sure I'm on the correct layer when I do that. The other thing that you'll need to do with your design center, now that we've got everything on its way, is to bring in your log cabin blocks and bring in your landscape blocks. You can do that all at once and then delete them, and they'll always be available under your insert tab, or you can bring them in as you're needing them. In the next video, we'll talk about placing the doors and windows, and then we'll also talk about setting up all of your paper space. So I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.